Hello and welcome back. Today I want to talk about the creative cycle and how when it strikes, we can be caught off guard. And I want to dispel what the process looks like so that everyone here understands when they're in it and that it doesn't catch you off guard anymore and it doesn't feel uncomfortable. I mean, we still have to move through it, but I think when we normalize something, it's like, oh, okay, I can expect this was coming, or I knew that this was going to happen. So imagine that when we are in a creative cycle, or when we're in that blossoming open and releasing something new into the world, think of it like an ocean wave, like where it's out in the middle of the ocean and it's gathering momentum, but it's like just a lull, right? It's just like a roll. And as it comes closer, closer, closer to the shore, it peaks. It's like there's a wave. There's a surfer can ride it. There's momentum. There's power. There's a release, and that is the moment of the birth of creation. And then after it peaks and it then dissipates and it's like like crashing towards the shore, that's like the exhale. It's like and even like the bubbles represent the air that's just like and when that happens, that's the exhale, that's the let go, that's the birthing of whatever it is that we're creating. And then if you watch the waves, you notice that wave that just came in with such force and beauty and grace pulls back ever so silently. You don't even hardly notice it, but it slowly recedes, and then the next one comes. But what I want to talk about today is that receding point. So, in my experience, after a big cycle, after a big creation, whatever that looks like, if it's something outward facing, something inward facing, something in your garden, something that you're building, something that you're doing as an artwork, all of that feels exciting and the momentum feels lively and it feels like all of your fractals are on point and you are all communicating and everything is lining up and everything is synchronistic and it all flows, right? And it's like, I love this high. But after something is birthed, it's like we have to regroup. We have to then dig deeper into the soils of our soul and like cultivate that and use that as fertilizer to cultivate the deeper our roots go. So that process in itself can make people feel really sad and really depressed and not connected and alone. And I want to just say that this is the normal process of creation. If we were always fire and always moving with such force, how would we reflect to see who we actually have become? And then when the next wave comes, we bring that expression of our new octave out into the world. And if you've done a session with me, I always talk about slowing the heart chakra down with the waves of the ocean and imagining an infinity loop, bringing in the next wave and then releasing that past exhale and then bringing in the next inhale. And it's like this process that is ever moving. It never lets up. Like energy is not created or destroyed. So it's just picking up the next one and it's letting it live its life. And then it's receding back. And that cycle is something that we came to experience over and over and over again. Now, when you birth something that's really big, that inhale, the rest period, the inhale, it's going to probably be longer than just a couple of days. If it's just something small, it can just be like and then maybe I take a break for a couple of days and then there's another expression that wants to move through. But in general, we have to get in touch with that rhythm, because if we think that we are here to push, which is the third dimensional way of looking at creation, you will burn out, and it's not authentic. It's not coming from your soul, right? Like it's something that's being pushed out and like, how would I say, manufactured through the vessel. Ah, yes. And that has to change. We have to find that when we move forward in creation, we aren't here to do it by ourselves. Our mind isn't the tool anymore, and it's something that we have to ride the wave of. And if we surrender to that process of like, we become in flow. And then there is no more like dreading the wave receding, because we know that that is the winter of a creative project or of creative expression. And just like the seasons, we have to go through them all. And to me, this is the fundamental part of my experience in this journey. I have been like knowing that I wasn't in an expression time and a releasing time. And so I held back, and I was like, no, it's like building, it's building, but it's not expressing yet. And that always, like, to me felt like I'm not ready, right? It's like that, if we think about that wave out way in the ocean, and it's like just a little bump, it's just moving, it's moving, but it's not ready to express. There's like honoring every part of the cycles, or each of the cycles, and knowing when it's time to just be in that lull where you're cultivating and you're gathering and you're putting the pieces together, so that when that wave wants to peak, you can exhale with it. And then understanding that that's the yang energy, that's the birthing, that's the push. And then again, I want you to imagine like the afterbirth as well, because that all the bubbles of water that move crashing into the shore, that's like the fractals, like the people that are getting impacted by all of that energy, right? Like the explosion of energy. And then the part that we don't necessarily love writing is that retreat. So in the retreat, what I want to speak about here is that's the yin energy. And that's like where we nurture ourselves back to center, right? We've allowed this great force to be birthed through this vessel, which in my experience, most of the time isn't coming from me, it's coming through me. So if you allow that energy to move through you, your vessel needs to regroup and understand in its own right what just happened, right? Like what just moved through me, and can I integrate it? And I would call that the integration period. And it's not meant to be exterior facing. It's an interior process. Like that's why they say with plant medicine, integration is the most important part, because that's where the juice is. That's like where your part of it is. And instead of it being an external push into the world, it's that internal reflection of what just happened. And what I also find most times when people are working with spirit and they birth something, they'll say, I don't know I don't even remember what I said. I don't even know what just happened. I don't even know how it came through me, or I can't take credit for this because it wasn't me. All of that is because you haven't integrated it yet, right? We have to then take that period, that pause, and find out like, okay, I brought this medicine through me to the world, but now I have to feel it in my body and understand what the medicine actually was for me. And then when you do that, you have a deeper understanding of why you're here and the process that you're here to create. And it's like I said earlier, it's the fertilizer for the next octave, the next expression. And they all matter. It's like you can't have the yin without the yang, and you have to understand that that flow is in between them both. And I think that's why they're like shaped like intertwined with each other, because you need them both, and in such a soft manner that it's like the person that understands that and understands that ebb and flow is like, I know I'm right on track because I just birthed this thing through me, and now I can retreat back and see what's the medicine. And I want you to know too, like if you're in the phase where you're just coming online and you're not yet putting things out into the world, it's still, the process still is the same. Because whether if it is a birthing through a phase of your life, a letting go of past friends that are separating from you, understanding that a job is no longer fitting, a relationship breaking up, that to me, those key points are the wave breaking. That is the expression. You're getting online and you're getting closer attuned to what that wave wants to express, right? And then the fallout is like, okay, like my life is in shambles, I'm in the dark night, and then I retreat and I become a hermit back into understanding what this means for me now. And it's such a beautiful expression that we all go through, even the cosmos, even the way that this like world was created. It's like it's a breath, it's an inhale and an exhale, and it's a movement, and it's not meant to be static. If we are pushing and if we are static with it, and we have our minds thinking that it is meant to be like a bam, 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 that's not authentic. That's not coming from your soul. I feel like the fractals know that they can move through you and like clear out everything and like be on that wave, ride the wave, let the crash happen. And then they're like, okay, let me pull back now and let's see where this leaves them. Like, let's see where they land on this wave, and all of it is perfect. So I know this is a short episode, but I just wanted to remind you, it all is exactly how it's supposed to be. We don't need to do anything other than ride the wave. And when it is time to go in, allow your body to rest. And a friend called it tending to the body. And that's it. I love that word, because it's an understanding that the vessel can only hold so much energy at one time. And then it has to upgrade. It has to understand and get the codes in it, and understand what the next frequency is, and then like do the downloads and the uploads and the, like, if you guys have ever experienced in the middle of the night, you wake up because you think there's an earthquake and because your body's shaking, that's an upgrade. And what I'm finding is that is when the rest period is happening, that's when the upgrades are coming in, because there is space, because you've exhaled so much energy that you've left room for an upgrade. So being kind to our bodies and nurturing ourselves through it, instead of letting depression take over and make us feel like we're less than because we're not in a yang position. That's flow. So I hope that this is helpful, and please be gentle with yourselves.